This is a CD of Scottish music, and we've always tried to keep the flag flying for Scottish music in Paisley Abbey. With a few gaps, there's 600 years worth of music for the church, starting with the pre-Reformation. There's very interesting and varied music of Robert Johnson, who straddled the gap between Scotland and England. Then came a fallow period of about 200 years until the 20th century. We've been particularly fortunate here in Paisley since James Macmillan, arguably the most influential Scottish composer of today, wrote the piece chosen especially for us. This is a beguiling work on a Marian subject. The best church composers, to my mind, are those who also write orchestral, operatic, and symphonic concerto type music. Composers represented here like Eddie Maguire, Tom Wilson, Stuart McRae, and of course Macmillan himself. As far as my own music is concerned, I have written it mainly out of necessity. For example, if we've needed a canticle or a setting of a carol, I've tried to write something, hence the Benedictus S. As far as the organ music is concerned, I wrote the arrangement of Highland Cathedral under some duress. It would never have occurred to me to go near it, but someone asked me to do an arrangement of it, and having acknowledged its stirring associations with weddings and national gatherings, I felt I would have a go at that. But the centerpiece of the whole collection are the 3 dawn sonnets of Eddie Maguire. We built the whole CD round this, and of course the marvelous bass flute solo played by Ewan Robertson. And if you haven't heard the bass flute, this is an absolute must. It's a real treat in store. And the way Eddie weaves the whole piece around the bass flute with the choir works in a most magical way, I think. So all in all, this is something you have to hear. It's very definitely a first, this particular combination. So I hope that people will really take to this, and I know they will, and will thoroughly enjoy listening to it.
Well, first of all, a lot of grateful thanks from me, Eddie Maguire, to the singers of Paisley Abbey's choir for actually studying, learning and recording so well my piece 3 dawn lyrics. Yes, thanks to all of you. And to the conductor George McPhee, because that was actually the origin of this piece. It was a year or two ago that the Alistair Savage ensemble performed in Paisley Abbey, and they had with them Ewan Robertson on his brand new bass flute, and actually George loved the sound of Ewan's bass flute, and playing in the reverberant beautiful acoustic of the Abbey. And he was actually delighted that then I chose to include the bass flute in a new piece for the choir. And the suggested text for the piece came from George, actually, and it was from the poet John Donne. And now I have always had an interest in science. I've written several pieces relating science and music and trying to explain scientific concepts in musical terms, like my Symphonies of Galaxies and other pieces. But I was aware that, around about 400 years ago, there was the phenomenon, the sorrowful phenomenon of the 30 Years' War in Europe. And that actually did inform the background to the imagery of the texts of John Donne that I chose. But there was the scientific connection in the sense that John Donne actually, just over 400 years ago in 1619, actually went to Germany and visited Kepler and found out about the latest theories of astronomy and a scientific view of the universe. And he was in touch with the ideas of Galileo and Descartes as well. So that was the background to this piece. It gave me an impetus to compose it, and I hope that the harmonies and the kind of soaring melodic lines that I do come up with are enjoyable and very expressive of the ideas of John Donne that I uncovered.